When you walk up to the vehicle with the key, it has the full proximity system, and it'll sense the key and allow you access to the vehicle, but it doesn't automatically turn on any lights or anything like that. So let's go ahead and hit the unlock button. So the exterior lights turn on, not the actual headlights, but the parking lights here with the tail lights. And then there's these little lights right here that extend out from the handles, and they illuminate the ground next to the vehicle as an approach light, so you can see what you're stepping on as you approach the vehicle. There is an off position on the headlight switch in which you can turn off all the exterior lights, and you can actually drive like that. Some vehicles don't let you turn off all the lights. Sometimes if you turn it off and then you start driving, it'll turn them back on automatically. This one, you can completely go dark if you need to. Now I have the parking lights on, and the parking lights are these Thor's hammer daytime running lights. Kind of looks like a hammer going this way. And so they're relatively dim for the parking lights. They brighten up quite a bit for the daytime running lights during the day anyway. But yeah, they look pretty cool. And Volvo has used this lighting system for a while now. And there is the amber side marker here in the front. There's a little red side marker here, but the tail lights also wrap around to the side of the vehicle a little bit. They're visible from the side and the back, and really nice looking, very distinct, I guess. You can tell it's a Volvo. Tail lights, nice sharp LEDs in red. They look a little orange on camera, but they are nice deep red. The turn signal is the same white light, just turned amber. That Thor's hammer light. It's just an amber color, but it is very bright. I have to really dim the camera down so you can see the sharpness of it, because it kind of blows it out because it's so bright, which is good. And it's visible from the front, the side, all around here on the appropriate side. There's also a turn signal indicator here on the side mirror. It's visible from the front, the side, and the back. It's amber in color. And back here we have a red turn signal. Kind of surprised it's not amber, but it's a red turn signal integrated into the taillight. And once again, all LEDs. And not quite as bright as the front one, but it is bright enough to where you can see it. Now the third brake light is in the top of the glass, and the reverse lights are integrated into taillights. Now there's also a fog light, a rear fog light, here in the back as well. It's on the driver's side. So now I have the low beams on, and when I turn the steering wheel, you'll see there's a cornering light that turns on. It's basically just the fog light that turns on in that direction, like so. Now if we turn on the fog lights, you can see when I turn the steering wheel, fog lights, there's no cornering light now because the fog lights are already on. Also, if you don't have the fog lights on, if you put it in reverse, they'll automatically turn on as well. Okay, so what we have is a multi-reflector system for your low and high beams. And the fog light is a little projector. So the fog light's down here. It's a little focus beam, but a little bit different. And then up here is a multi-reflector LED system. And it's on the top and the bottom of that Thor's hammer. And it's basically, the low beams are this outer portion. The inner portion will light up with the high beams. And these are what Volvo called active bending, so they'll turn with the steering wheel. All right, so I'm gonna step back here a little bit, see where the cutoff is. Cutoff is about 2.5 feet off the ground. So yeah, right there, above this area, I can look directly at the headlights, not blinding me at all. But below here is where all the light is, below 2.5 feet off the ground. Okay, so let's switch to high beams, and the fog lights turn off. There's low beams, there's high beams. So the fog lights turn off with the high beams. And the high beams are, you can see all this area here is filled up now. So this inner portion is filled up with the outer portion. So it's all illuminated now. And we'll see what they look like and how they perform on the road here in a few minutes. So this cargo area is actually pretty decent. It has this one light here at the top. It mostly illuminates the ground though, so it's not really illuminating in the cargo area. We have a light here to the left, right here, shining right here. We have another light here on the right side, shining in this area. Now there's a lot of dark areas way down here. So it could be a little bit better, but as it is, it's not too bad, considering it has 3 lights. This one is, like I said, mostly shining on the ground, but it does help out a little bit. But yeah, it could be a little bit better, but as it is, it's not bad. The inside of the back door does have a puddle light, so you can see what you're stepping in when you open the door. There's a little light, a little kind of subtle light in this pocket right here. There's one here on the handle, if you can see that. And then you have the light for the power window switch and the door lock control there. Floorboard illumination. It's pretty nice. That's where it helps out a lot with especially dark interiors, like in this case dark floorboards. And the interior lights here, there's like one light on each side of the sunroof. And it does a decent job. It's mostly in the lap and the feet area, so you can see there's no light shining in the face of the passengers. It's pretty good. I mean, it could be a little bit brighter, a little bit more spread out, but as it is, it's not bad. Puddle light here in the front. Great, like that. There's a pocket light here. There's also illumination for the handle and all the buttons here. Floorboard illumination. And the lights here in the front are coming from the center, which do a pretty decent job here in the front. This is what the interior lights look like. Not too bad. Let's go ahead and turn those off. You can see the backlit buttons here. I like the floorboard illumination. It's not overly bright. It is visible though. And let me turn the brightness up on the camera because some of this stuff is looking a little bit dim on camera. So yeah, you can see the floorboard on both sides looking good. The back of the center console does have some controls that are illuminated, but there is a 12-volt power supply that's completely dark back here. So yeah, the buttons here on the steering wheel, here to the left of the steering wheel, the trunk button there. And the pockets, when it's really dark, those pockets are really nice. And the handle. What would be ideal? And it is kind of rare, but the headlight switch, if it was illuminated, it'd be a little bit better. Because it doesn't show you on the screen what you're doing when you turn the switch. You just kind of have to, you gotta like turn the interior lights on and then look at it, and then you can adjust it here. And this is the front fog lights, this is the rear fog lights, and then there's the switch. And the automatic high beams, you kind of have to toggle up like this. You toggle up to turn it on or off. We'll go ahead and turn those on. Alright, here's the screen. Let me turn the brightness back down on my camera because it's blowing it out. So yeah, it looks good. The screen here and here looks great. And while we're looking at the screen, let's go ahead and turn on the camera here so you can see what it looks like. There's a backup camera, there's the surround view camera. So yeah, you can see around the vehicle fine. It does a pretty good job in most areas with the lights that it has around the vehicle anyway. Here's the navigation map here. You have the different views. Now turn the brightness back up on the camera now that we're not looking at the screen, because I want to show you the Aura4's crystal shifter looking really nice. Has illumination, illuminating the whole thing, and when your hand, put your hand there, you can see it's nice and clear and illuminated. Really cool. And this little cup holder area is illuminated, has some lights in it. There's also some lights coming from here, if you can see that on my hand, and they come down and illuminate this area when it's super dark. It has like a little moonlight effect. There's a start switch, illuminated buttons here. This center little console is not illuminated. Wish it had a light in it. There's also a USB port in here, no light. The glove compartment does have a nice bright light, near perfect actually. The garage door opener controls underneath the rear view mirror are not illuminated. It does have an auto dim rear view mirror. The buttons up here look really good. So you have this button right here for turning on all the interior lights. It's a soft touch button. You can turn on individual lights like this, like that. And these lights, this light shines here in the lap, okay? So it doesn't really, if you're looking at it, it's not shining light in my face. So other vehicles, when you turn this light on, it kind of shines too much in the driver's face. So they designed this where it doesn't do that, so I like that. You can see how much bright all the lights are though. And then the visor has a single light with a mirror. In the settings, you can adjust the interior brightness, bring it down to completely dark, or you can bring it up. I had it on full brightness before, so you can bring that down. Also, interior light intensity, you have a high, low, and then off. So that would be like the floorboard illumination, the doors, stuff like that. So you can turn that off. You can bring this interior brightness down. And if you don't like all the interior lights, you can have all that stuff turned down and very dim. So there's the headlight pattern on a fence. And so there's the high beams, there's the low beams, and there's a little spot, there's a little low spot, basically a notch, that is intended to line up with the oncoming lane. We'll see how that works. But yeah, you'll notice that the headlights, they'll be static until I start moving forward a little bit, and then they'll start moving. So I have to kind of move forward a little bit, and then they're very, very active, these headlights, and very responsive. So there's a lot of swing left and right with these headlights, the headlight movement. It's not, some vehicles are a little bit annoying. This one, kind of cool. I'm not usually a fan of these movement of the headlights. It just seems a little gimmicky, because I've seen headlights that just illuminate everything in front of you, so there's no need to move them, you know. So in this case, it's, you know, I guess it's designed to be a little directional, and maybe that works for some people. I have the automatic high beams turned on, so we'll see how they work, make sure they're not flashing other people. These are also auto leveling headlights too. So as you floor it, or as you maybe have a bunch of passengers in the back or whatever, the idea is to keep the headlights from, you know, lifting up too much. Now, if you're just driving normally like this, you're going up and down hills, you're going to see movement in them. Okay, so that notch I was talking about is mostly lined up on that oncoming lane. So that looks okay. It's basically just, it creates a little bit of a shadow. It's a little bit on this lane actually, but yeah. And you see a little patchiness in the low beams here with all these different projector or reflectors lining up, and the overlap is a little bit, you can see the little bit of a patchiness to the overlap, which I was kind of surprised because there's so many of them, you know, they could easily overlap. But we'll see how the high beams work in a second once we get to this dark road. But yeah, so far the low beams they're fine. They're just, you know, have a little style to them, I guess, with the movement and everything. It's kind of neat. I mean, I'm not having any visibility issues, you know, but the patchiness, yeah, maybe if they're aligned a little bit better, maybe the patchiness will go away, because I can tell that notch is a little bit on my lane. Okay, so see if it switches to high beams, and it's not, so let's go ahead and manually do it. Okay, so there we go, looking good. There's the distance is a little bit not all that great. I mean, I can see the trees in the distance, but actually on the road, that notch is a little bit causing a visibility issue on the road a little bit, but I can see pretty decent, especially on the sides of the road. I can see good on the sides. Up close is good. But yeah, they probably, I think the fade off on the road is a little bit, could be a little bit better. Could be project a little bit down the road. Maybe brightness, something like that, or the angle. I think part of it is just that notch is just not quite 100% on the oncoming lane. It's like it's, and since we're dealing with low beams and high beams, the low beams stay on and the high beams add to it. So that distance is only for with the high beams, and the low beams are still not really helping with that too much, is what it seems like anyway, depending on the road. So right now, turning to the right, let's see how much movement we have here. Yeah, it's not really making a difference here. Let's put the low beams. Yeah, there's movement there. But you can see that on the low beams, that shadow is 100% on my lane right now. It's not on the oncoming lane. So I don't know if that's an alignment issue or that's just the way it's supposed to be, but so yeah, that's kind of an issue right there, because it's not that far in front of the vehicle and I have a completely dark road. And high beams are working good. So yeah, I mean, I think they, you know, with all the technology that's involved in this particular vehicle, I'm gonna put automatic high beams back on. That I think I would expect a little bit better headlights. You know, I mean, they're fine, they're adequate, but you know, there's times in which they could be better, especially when there's a shadow on my lane and low beams, and the brightness and the distance on the high beams is a little bit not all that great. You know, it's good, it's fine, but definitely could be better. I mean, what I'm saying is, I experience a lot of different headlights, right? And some people, you know, they might hear me say, oh, it could be brighter, and they don't know what I'm talking about. So I see a lot of different headlights. I drive like, 80 or 100 cars a year, right? Doing this kind of stuff. So I'm comparing the different headlight systems. And so when I see a system that doesn't have the movement, it doesn't have the auto leveling, it's just a regular old headlight system, and it blows this one out of the water, then I'm like, well, why is this one so advanced, but yet it can't compete with just a regular headlight system, which is not causing a problem with brightness with other people, and it has there's some other vehicles that have really good headlight systems, is what I'm getting at, and this one is not in that category. This is in the mediocre range. Even though it has all this movement and technology involved with these headlights, they could definitely be better. So hopefully that's helped. I do have the brightness on my camera set a little bit high so you can see the pattern and everything. But so if they look overly bright on camera, then that's what it is. I just have the camera brightness blasted out. You can see these screens right here are very bright, you know. So yeah, just keep that in mind. The brightness is a little bit enhanced with my camera here.